All right, and welcome back. It's now 7 o'clock. This is Morning Express, and it's time for Week in Review, where we'd just like to look at some of the things that have been happening this week. Remember, you're welcome to participate in this conversation, and you can do that via Twitter, and the Twitter handles are going to be displayed on your screen. But for the benefit of anybody that might be joining us now, a quick reintroduction of the guests. With me, I have Philip Magal, Vincent Kimosop, and Nick Bikati, basically just looking at what the week has been. And let's start with the IEBC. At some point, it was on the headlines, and it might just be back again. Now, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has suspended or had suspended embattled CEO Chiloba again until an ongoing audit on procurement relating to the last general election is complete. IEBC Chair Wafula Chebukati sent Chiloba packing again just hours after he was reinstated by the Employment and Relations Court pending the determination of his suit challenging his initial suspension from the commission. According to Chebukati, the second suspension for a period of 3 months takes effect immediately. Chebukati says the commission convened a meeting after the court's ruling and resolved that the CEO be suspended pending the completion of the audit process. So, gentlemen, we have a situation here where we have the chair and the CEO basically push and pull. And it is a very important institution for this country because it probably could be having a lion's share of what happened 2017 on the 8th election. And where we ended up. And of course, even now when we're looking at the budget, we are still making reference to the protracted electioneering period. So it's something that we cannot ignore. Let me start with my, I was told not to call a lawyer learned friend unless I'm learned. So let me not refer to you as my learned friend. Maybe I'm not as learned, but as an advocate, your thoughts on this push and pull between the CEO and the chair?
First and foremost, I think you people in the we share the same shoes with the people, with journalists, because you are as much as informed as we are. So I won't take offense, and you shouldn't take offense if I do call you a learned friend.
Okay.
You know, this has become a charade. We are being treated to needless push and pull between these two individuals. We know that IEBC buggled the elections. Nowhere in the world has an election been nullified, and we know that the nullification was justified. We've seen that there were breaches of the procurement laws, blatant breaches of procurement laws. We've seen that there were blatant breaches of electoral laws in the last general election. Somebody has to take
responsibility.
Yes, for this. And if you remember, the 3 commissioners who resigned recently resigned after Chebukati sent Chiloba for compulsory leave. And you have to wonder, what is the connection between these individuals? Why would they try to tank the whole commission just because the chairman, just because the CEO had been sent home? What is his influence within IEBC? I think we need to prod this. And if it were me, if I was sent on leave so that an audit would be taken of my work, I wouldn't see what is wrong with that. Why would the court step in? Again, this is where, Kenyans really wonder why the courts keep intermeddling with some of these independent commissions' affairs. A suspension is not a dismissal. The suspension is for a reason.
Merely for,
and it is for a very specified period. So therefore, I think I would support Chebukati on this. This individual needs to be home for another 3 months. Let the audit get done. Let's get the results.
Okay, and it's on page 18 of the Standard this morning, in case you'd like to get the nitty-gritties of this particular story. But let me come to you, Vincent.
Yes. And
there's the question of Kenyans. We've become very legal, and everything is done in court. So assuming that he was cleared and comes back to office, there's definitely bad blood between the chair and the CEO. And this is likely to spill over to an election, or even by-elections if they're to be held. Isn't this the point where we'd expect Chapter 6 of the Constitution to come in and say, look, guys, given the bad blood and the environment that I'm in, there should be some give or take where one says, I will not hold the seat, regardless of the fact that even if legally I've been found with no fault, but isn't there conscience that we have?
Just some some disclosure. I would have been making this decision at the commission, and I've been successful as a commissioner. So I have the opportunity to comment on it. I think chapter 6, when you read the spirit of chapter 6, that talks about principles of leadership and integrity. One of them is that a public and state officer will actually conduct themselves in public and in private in ways that it will bring honor and dignity to the office. I think you don't need a lot of evidence to actually see that something is not right at the commission. And of course, if we are to reference the good book that says a kingdom divided cannot stand. So you, as in, I hear you and I agree with you. The place of conscience in this situation is actually what is required. Look at there are people who have resigned in the past and have earned public respect and says, hey guys, I am not guilty, but for the good of this office and for the good of this institution, I think somebody else deserves an opportunity to be able to serve in this office. And as the president even said, that our country is not short of skills to be able to actually serve in this commission. I believe both the CEO and actually the chairman, the current commission is constituted, have not injected public confidence in the way they've handled this process. So if we are talking about accountability, it should be two-way, both on the commission and also on the part of management, so that we have an institution that actually injects public confidence. I will use the Swahili term. When the CEO of Safaricom, former CEO, Michael Joseph, was there, he was up country. And there is somebody who told him, actually I think from the Masai community, mimi naweka pesa yangu Safaricom kwa sababu mimi najua wewe utachunga pesa yangu. No, you don't know a lot of issues about IT and everything. But ninajua wewe utafanya nini? Utachunga pesa yangu. That actually even led them to even shift their focus from issues of values like efficiency, excellence, to issues of that if you take care of the community that you serve, issues of sustainability, issues of Project Kenya, what happens? Your interests will actually be taken care of. So I would say that I think it's high time for the people within the commission of the IEBC to take the high moral ground and to allow people who will inject public confidence into this institution, knowing the centrality and the importance to which we attach elections in this country. So it's not a question of who is wrong, who is right. I think the circumstances we are in requires that we raise the standard on integrity and accountability.
Biketi, very briefly before we move on to another thing that happened this week, but your thoughts on IEBC and what possibly needs to happen at this point in time?
I've been here before, and on this question of IEBC, and I've said that the problem with Kenyans, this very complicated term in the Constitution called integrity, is just basically saying Kenyans have no manners. Nitabia, that is the problem. And coming back to this question of Chebukati and Chiloba, the critical question, and my colleague Kanso is here, I can call him a learned friend. What legal capacity does IEBC have today in view of their quorum? They say they met as a commission and made a decision. I am sure tomorrow in court, there is going to be the issue of if they had legal quorum to actually take up such a decision. We are alive to the decision of the Court of Appeal in view of the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission in prosecuting the former CS of Transport, Michael Kamau. Yes. And the court was very clear that you are not legally constituted, so you could not make certain decisions. And I want to believe that somebody will say the decision that was taken yesterday by Chebukati is actually a limping decision. However, that said and done, I will agree with my colleagues in general that IEBC is at the central nerve. You must remember that Article 1 of the Constitution is about the sovereignty of the people. We are talking about the taxes today. Public finance, Article 2(1)(a), is actually that the first thing you do when you're talking about taxes is the interest, the national interest. Who is the measure of this interest? IEBC through an election. It's through that election that we determine. So I think we're in a crisis, and I'll repeat saying it, that we're in a crisis. You send you send Chiloba home. Yourself, we have legal issues with you. We have by-elections to come. We have a boundary review to come. So I think we are talking about the people, of course, who are pushing for a referendum. If all these things are to come and they find IEBC in the situation that we are in, basically will be caught pants down.
All right.
What the judge said. I think it's the judge said, Justice Stephen Radido, however, said that they might need to rethink his position. That's now, he said Chiloba might need to rethink his position as he resumes his duties, given the bad blood between the IEBC chairperson and him, which led to his suspension on April 6th. Quote, "It would not be fair to uphold the decision taken by the chairman to suspend the CEO without any legal foundation. However, Chiloba should search his soul in respect of the circumstances of 2007 elections, considering the high trust and confidence which was expected of him," ruled Radido. So that, in my view, it really speaks to how this thing should move.
And I guess what he's saying is that legally,
You
this
are right.
is the position.
You-
However,
yes. You
there
are-
is the
yes.
spirit of the law.
Of the law.
Just the general spirit.
At the
There's the
bottom
moral
of it,
question.
yes,
the
at the
moral
bottom of
yes.
it is the question of integrity. I mean, what is wrong with being asked to stay home for 3 months, earning full salary, as we look into your files?
Absolutely. And I guess that's what you're referring to as tabia mbaya.
Yeah.
Na inaonekana Wakenya tuko tu na tabia mbaya.
And also, I think we should also appreciate, I led a legal institution. One of the things I understood is that the law is meant to cure a problem in a society. That's why even interpretation, the judges ask, what is the mischief that the law was seeking to cure? So we need to appreciate that at times you might be legally right, but when you look at the overall issues within society, a higher standard is required.
Correct.
So I think it is, and that is, and we are speaking now not just on the part of the CEO, but also on the part of the commissioners, that, hey guys, you guys presided over an election, this election was nullified. You may, or indeed also may have been clean, but that in itself, in other jurisdictions, people resign the following
People
day.
resign.
You saw
And
the MP in UK who
resigned
actually
for coming
arrived
late.
in a parliamentary committee late. And he says...
That's
Yeah?
why I think let's leave that at the point where let's hope